Okay. So your question, Laura, is how to sync across different devices. It's not yet actively pushed if the recording is open on both devices, because we don't have a way to send it in real time. So you have to go back to the home page and click on it again, or choose it and click on the one you want to open. And when you open this, it will query the server to see if there is a more recent version on the server than on the computer or the phone you are opening it. And if there is, it should say syncing with the cloud with a little check mark here. If you are not sure, there is a hidden button. If you click on this in sync with the cloud, it will open a button which says reload from the cloud and which will actively retrieve what is on the cloud. So you can try this one now on your mobile phone if you want, to be sure to retrieve the latest version from the cloud. So, sorry, I will open this one. And the other thing you have to do is if you do any modification, like you said, you go to harmonic boost and you add something. If I add something here, for instance, it will not be saved and sent to the cloud immediately. Otherwise, it would send continuously to the cloud. So you have to, if you want to sync it, you have to come back and click here, or click on Save on Cloud, which is the same, and click on Save this scan. And if you have checked Save to BioCoherence Cloud, it will save it locally and it will push it immediately to the cloud. So you first save it on your Pro computer, and you open it on the screen here, and you should have. Do you see on your screen the little sync with the cloud button?
I did. I have it right now. How long does it take?
You should just click on it, and it should be immediate.
Okay. Oh, there it went.
Yeah. When you click on it, it will fetch it from the cloud and open it as soon as it is downloaded. And now it should be synced.
Okay, let's check it out.
Suspense.
It didn't do it again. What
It
is
didn't
going
do it?
on? Do it
Okay,
again.
so that might be another problem where it's actually two different files with the same name. So this is something else we have to check.
Oh,
I don't know why, but sometimes is it a recent recording or is it an old recording?
May 13th, we did it.
Okay, so it's pretty recent because at some point we had a problem with duplications. So I will check with you after the call to see if it's the same file or not. If it's not the same file, we must find a way to show that it's actually not the same file. Maybe just show the file ID somewhere so that you can be sure that it's the same file you are working on. That would be actually a good idea to show the internal ID of the file.
Great. Thank you.
That would be a good idea for like when you're
Yes,
looking at your explorations. Like
yes,
sometimes, like some of my explorations have like 5 or 6 scans to them, right? And
yes.
when
And
you look at it,
at some point, I've added here the information of the internal ID, and then we decided it was too much information. But in fact, now that we have this discussion, I realize that it's very important to know the actual internal ID to see if you are working on the same file or not.
yeah,
So this is something that will come back in the next version because I understand it's important.
thank you. That would be a great option.
Yes.
I'm definitely going to check that right now, Mandrick. Thank you.
Yes, and I will think of a way to add this internal number quickly in the next versions. So we just put an update today that you should have in your updates if you go to settings and release. So the latest official version that is just published today is 1.26.3. And it has some things, particularly if you go to experimental functions here, you can check the new IC score, the integral coherence score, which is now part of the official version, but it will not be shown unless you go to experimental functions and you check it. So it will probably be part of the official release for the next release without having to check it. But right now, I just wanted to be sure that if you check it, you know what you are doing with it. And so it will give you these curves here on the different items in the progress. So you can just click here and see the evolution curve and the numbers in the middle of the flowers and so on. Same for all biomarkers. One thing we have improved in this version is, as you can see in the bottom of the screen, you now have a tooltip on a lot of different items. So when you roll over things, you can now know, and what is new is on the right, you see the key presses, the keystrokes you can press to directly access these different items. So the different screens are control 1 to control 8, and recording is control 0, I think. It should show. And so you see it on the right, on the bottom right here, the different keystrokes you can. So you can hit Control S for save to the cloud, for instance, to save, and so on and so on. And you have the same in the top menu, in the application menu if you are on Windows or Mac or Linux. Oh, that's not nice. Okay. That's when I work with my development version, sorry. I will just launch the official version, which is probably better. So this is the Mac app. One thing we started to is we started to implement a right-click menu. So for instance, here, you can have a right-click menu. So it's just integrated into the possibilities of the app. So it's only on the biomarkers now, but you can just access the details and remove for priorities. That will be greatly expanded in the next versions so that we can have a contextual menu in many places in the app to get a direct access to a lot of things. And as you see, when I roll over any biomarker, I now have the description in the bottom, which can be useful, especially if you are into these different items. So you have the descriptions, but if you go to the, I don't know, acupuncture points, for instance, and you don't remember all your acupuncture points, you can just roll over it, and you have the descriptions on the bottom, which can be useful, okay? So between the keystrokes, the contextual menus like that, and the rollover, I think the focus of this release was to make it more simple for you to access the vast amount of information we have. If you have some suggestions for items that you want to add in some contextual menus or in the main application menu, just say it. We will just think about everything we can do, like getting help about our screens. We actually have, but I'm not sure it's in the latest release. No, it's not. Okay, in the next release, you will have a preview of every one of these zones when you just roll over it in the same way, so in the bottom. Any questions at this point?
Yes, I do. And you know, the delete button that you add to is very good, but because when I'm going through and adding stimuli, which is what we call now stimuli, but when I was adding protocols,
Yes.
And it's like, oh man, I clicked on the wrong one. How do I get that out? And I didn't want to, I mean, I know that if I just, change it to, deselect it on the
Yes.
right, okay, I know, but I didn't want to leave that in the protocol because when I would close it and then open back up to that screen, that was no longer deselected. It was positive again. And I couldn't figure out how do I delete it without actually going back and just, the only way I could really do it is just delete the whole thing.
That's strange because Okay, so you want to remove something from your harmonic
Well,
boost.
so yeah, so if you go
Okay.
into, yeah, like
So,
this,
so
exactly.
the actual way to do it would be to just click on the minus here, which should
Mhm.
remove it immediately.
Well, I would do that and
Yes.
then it would be deselected, right?
Yes.
And then I go back and open it up again. And I don't know, maybe on your version it works, but when I would open it back up, if I deselected the ATP vascular,
Yeah.
right? Deselected
And
it.
okay, so in previous versions, it would stay on screen, but so that you could put it back again. But maybe there was a problem. Anyway, now it's removing it immediately,
Okay.
which is probably more clear for everybody.
Yeah, because I didn't want to leave it in there in case, because when I went back to it, it's like, oh, geez, it's selected again.
Okay.
And I didn't, it didn't deselect and stay deselected is what I was saying.
So it's actually a good thing because when you add stimulus, we have added some new things here. And so when we spoke about it last week, I understood that it was not very clear, this thing. So we've just added something like not recommended. Uh,
I actually saw that yesterday.
yeah, I will try and find something. Yes, okay. High impact, medium impact, and so on. So it's I think it's easier to understand now which one could be actually interesting. I tried to make a direct evaluation of the included frequencies, but right now I didn't do it because it just adds it just multiplies the calculation time by something like 10. So it's very intense in computation. So I've decided against it right now. But maybe in a next release, there will be an option to evaluate the actual frequencies that are included into the programs against the analysis that is done for the recording, I mean, that is done. And for that, I was imagining something like 4 quadrants, and these 4 quadrants would be low or high impact and low or high resonance in the recording. So maybe that will come as a further refinement to see if one particular, yes, Laura, I will be with you, to see if one particular stimulus could be useful or not. But right now you have this information. And this information comes from the associated biomarkers. So for instance, calcium ions should come with a list of internally associated biomarkers that are currently in need of something. So high impact means that the calcium ions should have an effect on some associated structures in the body that could benefit from this program. So whenever you see high impact, it means that this program could have a good impact on the different biomarkers that you have that could be positively impacted. The other things you probably saw is AI helpers here. This is a new button. And with this one, it will send this biomarker information directly as an attachment to the AI. I think I've shown you that last week. So it sends all the biomarker information so that the AI can explain and tell you if it's necessary or not. And we will add in the next version the new stimulus AI helpers that could help add some frequencies here according to their knowledge. So right now you have to go to the AI helpers and you go down to the stimulus ones, which are the new blue ones. And these ones are experts in the different stimulus categories and can read your harmonic boost and add some stimuli on top of it. I've seen that some of you started playing with it, and we've played with it a lot, and we find they add some very interesting things to the harmonic boost. Yes, Laura and Jeff.
Could you explain like the one, like I have one here that says it's 142%. And when I was talking to TJ, he's like, because I had one that was like 400% or something.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Why would it go up
Yeah,
that?
it's true. I should probably cap it to 100%. It's just a glitch of the calculation. It means that if you have, I don't know, 10 biomarkers that will be improved each from 50%, it will probably say it's beneficial at 500% because we are adding the different benefits. So it doesn't really make sense to go over 100%. So we will probably cap it to 100%.
But I'm really curious as to like, would that mean that that would be like a really good one to add,
Yes,
or?
yes. The more positive it is, the more biomarkers it's intended to move in the right direction, you know? So if you have a lot of low biomarkers that could be impacted by, for instance, calcium ions, if you have 10 different biomarkers that could be impacted by it, it will show a very high percentage, even maybe sometimes more than 100%, because
But
it will move a lot of things that you need in the good direction.
then I say then we keep it so then we can know. I mean, I just wanted to know like what it meant, not to like
Yeah.
not to take it away, because I
Yeah,
kind of like to.
I could add something like more than 100 or something like that. But I agree with you. It's a good information that it's
Yeah.
actually better than 100%. It just when we speak about percentage, it's usually capped to 100%. So maybe we should have a different
I don't
scale.
know. I kind of like knowing that it's like 400%. Like, holy crap! Better add that one.
I
Well,
have a
I mean, if you take supplements and you need a high dose of supplements, you can take, I don't know, 300% of vitamin B2 for the day, because it's 300% of your recommended dosage for the day. But you have to take, or I don't know, if you take 4,000 UI of vitamin D or something like that, you know, sometimes you go over 100%. So why not keep it? Yes. Mm.
Thank you.
so I have a question back to the simplicity of the priorities.
Yes.
A person has a symptom, and right now in the priorities, they don't look like maybe their symptom doesn't show up until way down at the bottom.
Yes.
And so trying to explain to them why that's way down there and all these other things are in the way. And especially if you do a PDF, then how
Yeah.
do we find a simple way to be able to say, okay, well, here's your symptoms, they're showing up, and these are the things that need to go in to help resolve whatever
Yes.
the disease is. And so it's complicated when you look at the priorities list and the harmonic boost, because some of it doesn't even show up in there.
Yeah.
And how do we explain that simply to somebody like, well, yeah, I'm asking you because I have these symptoms and they aren't showing up. So what good is it?
It's a very good question because it's a common issue. I think the best answer is to speak about open doors. You know, today you have some open doors that you can work with, and you have some best entries to treat your problems. And maybe it's not to go frontally to the problem, but to go sideways because this problem is dependent in the causal chain of other things. So if you want to fix, I don't know, okay, so if you want to fix a certain problem, maybe this problem is not to be addressed directly, but there is something, some underlying causes that needs to be addressed first, and that comes into in our algorithm. We are computing the new, what we call now the integral coherence score, and the priorities are the lowest scores somehow. So we enter with the lowest scores as the highest priorities. So it's like, onion peels or open doors. You have to start with the most obvious ones from the point of view of the system, which are not sometimes the most obvious one from the point of view of the complaint of your user, because he complains about the last item of the problem. But we have to start with the first item in the causal chain to be able to effectively heal something, And sometimes when we start with the first item, there is a chain reaction that will go directly to the last items. And sometimes we have to work for several months, layer through layer, to go up to the initial complaint. But it doesn't make any harm to add the complaint manually. to the priorities if you want,
Well,
which
that helps.
means, yes,
That helps
which means
really a lot.
yeah, if the automatic algorithm only shows the top priorities, you can add the actual complaint from the clients to the priorities manually, so that everybody is happy. And I think it's really important to do it.
And would it show the numbers, kind of like what we're seeing in those frequencies? Would it show, the priority number? It's like you need this by 115% then?
So it's not the same, but yes and no. So now when you click on anything, you have the number in the center. So for
Gotcha.
instance, the liver is at 60,
Uh-huh.
the large intestine is at 60, and so on. This one is at 79.
Right. So if
But this
it's
one is probably lower. Yeah. Okay. So you have a. Okay, this one is red. Mm. When it's red, it's very low on the IC score. Mm.
so strained, where's the pick one that says strained up on top,
Yes.
kidneys.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a great explanation because I was kind of confused to how to explain it to people, and that explains a lot more. TJ was kind of telling me that, but I was saying, yeah, but they want to be able to see their symptoms show up. But that makes so much sense because there are so many things tied, even in the meridians and the acupuncture points and stuff like that. You don't necessarily go direct to it because your symptom might not even be what's really going on in the body. It could be your teeth, it could be your liver, but yet you're having symptoms somewhere else.
Mm.
So it does make sense to
Yes.
see,
Mm.
to explain. Thank you for explaining that.
So this, when you finish with the recording, you have this set of automatic priorities, but feel free to change them. So if you want to work with meridians, for instance, you click on the plus on the right of meridians, and then you get a selection of low IC scores, a selection of some meridians that are interesting on the energetic point of view, or on the movement point of view. And it's the same for everything. So if you want to go to organs, for instance, you will find here a selection. So what happens is it will select the first 8 here from this list, but then you have some other possibilities. And then, of course, you can go to the maps and play with the maps. And by the way, you have some new interesting things on the maps. If you go to organs, you now have a rollover too. When you go on different items, you can see actually what item it is, because it's slightly moving up, as you can see. And you can see on the bottom left the associated biomarker. So you know what you are working on, and when you click on it, then you have the usual information.
Oh, good.
Okay. You can zoom in. So this is something new, but I think I've shown it to you. So for instance, you have the backbone on the general map, but you can see in the muscular, or you can zoom in on different maps, for instance.
Wow.
Okay. So use these organ maps because it's also very interesting to just browse it and to try and find some other things. And now with this new rollover, it's easier to understand what you are clicking on, so it's faster. Same for the teeth, for instance.
So are they naming the teeth? Numbering them?
Yeah, they're numbers.
Numbers.
Okay.
That's how a dentist would do it.
So I found lots of times that's where a lot of the problems were in the teeth.
Yeah.
Where you were seeing things were off. So that was good that you have the teeth really laid out like that now that you can click on them and go
Yes.
deep. Wow. Awesome.
What was the question here? Steve, you asked about how to get to the point where it shows to the positive or negative. That's about the
on the ICM or whatnot, where you said the 100, 400% or whatnot. How do you
Well,
get to that point
you mean
to see it?
in the interface to see it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So let me share my screen. So you open the harmonic boost and you click on any item and you click on add stimulus. And then you have this list of stimulus that you can find by category, for instance. I don't know, emotional support. And on the right, you have this evaluation that is dependent on the intended effect of the different programs.
Got it. Thank you.
When you see Lyme disease, for instance, and you see an impact, it doesn't mean that your client has Lyme disease. It means that the organs that are affected by Lyme disease could have a benefit of playing this program. So maybe the client has Lyme disease, maybe he has an array of symptoms that looks like Lyme disease. We are not equipped with our kind of analysis to actually know if the parasite that is linked to Lyme disease is there or not. But what we can see is, do we have the effects, the energetic effects of this disease in the system? And do we have the tools to balance it with the associated biomarkers that could be linked to these particular diseases? So pay attention with the diseases. If you have a big list of diseases, okay, so first, this list is the list of everything we have in the system. It's not the list of everything the client has in his body, okay? So if you see this very long list, don't say, oh, you have like 100 diseases. You are about to die, okay? Oh, I see Alzheimer cure, so you have Alzheimer. No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that we have all these programs into the system. It doesn't mean that the client has all the diseases. And again, if we have a high impact, for instance, it means that this program should have a positive effect on the linked biomarkers. And so probably that the linked biomarkers have a burden that could be caused by this disease, or maybe could be caused by something else. We are hitting the limits of what we can actually see in the body because we are doing just an energetic analysis of the different organs, not a biological view of the actual bugs that could be in the system.
Okay, so that is really good information to let people know because I did not know that. I thought I was
You know, I'd like to
It's
say
important
something
to
if you can bring that screen back up, right? And I was using stimuli, the blue AI helpers,
Yes.
right? Okay, so
Okay,
can you go to ATP, please?
Sorry.
So yeah, go to ATP. Okay, or
And by the way, there was a
DNA
problem.
or
There was a
genes.
problem to scroll into that, and now you can scroll with just clicking on it and moving it.
Yeah, see, okay, that's fine. Leave it right there. See how under
Sorry.
well, okay, so see right there under edema and swelling, not recommended. When I
Yes.
yesterday was making the profile up, adding to Karen's scan for her back surgery, and then also for my brother-in-law's, I would sure hope that maybe we could get a post-surgery from Christine for that. But anyway, it said I clicked on it and I said, oh, not recommended, both of them. And it was for ATP. Don't use this in this protocol. That was very beneficial. You know, that's the reason why, you know, pros get the stimulus only, right? And well, I mean, I wasn't using that. I was using where you are right now. And
Yeah.
I looked at DNA and genes and, you know, and it says not recommended. Don't use it.
Okay, so not recommended does not mean literally don't use it. It means that given the associated biomarkers, they don't need a push in the good direction from this program. So you can override it, and that's why these protocols are only for pros, because as a pro, you can take this recommendation, but you can also skip this recommendation and say, okay, it says that, but I guess it would be useful for my clients, so I'm adding it anyways. So you have the liberty to do it. The button is still here. So this is just a computation from the data that we have. But if you find this protocol could be useful for your clients, just add it, you know.
So in the thing, post-operation diseases and consolidated list, that's where that particular thing, all of these little, I guess they're white, the little white boxes below, the like blood clot, diseases, post-operation, various lists. So that's where that protocol goes to?
No,
Helps?
that's the list it comes from. So that's the keywords. You will find it. So you will find it in post-operation and diseases.
Oh, okay.
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 And
Gotcha.
the last one is the list where it comes from. So it can be, for instance, consolidated list comes from Rife frequencies. Various come from Rife. But if you go to PSI, for instance, it comes from neuropsychiatric immunology, and you have the reference here. It's from
Okay, so we need to explain that to TJ too, because I had a client with the cellulitis. She had cellulitis. It says that it would be only 20% helpful, and I said, I don't care, put it on anyway. And
yes.
she had a huge response to it. Like, of course, she didn't have the cellulitis before that because she fell after the scan, but it still helped her a lot, even though it was at the low thing. So and he said, don't, he said, it's not recommended though. And I said, I don't care, put it on anyway.
Yeah.
So,
And that's what you have to do.
okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Because you are the therapist and you know what to do for your clients. So
Oh,
remember, this is just a tool. So you don't follow blindly the tool. The tool says, okay, according to my calculations, I have this kind of results. But then you say, okay, I have the client in front of me and I decide to
yeah.
click on plus. And that's your job.
Yeah, that's good. That's what I was thinking not use it, but ultimately I did add both ATPs because they were like for bone regeneration and both of them have bone problems, broken bones or
Yeah.
surgery on them, right? So it's like bone regeneration. Of course I want to use it.
Yeah, also pay attention that I'm adding functions every week, and maybe my algorithm is not the best in the world, and maybe sometimes it says not recommended when it should be. And that's why I said my initial idea was to make a quadrant like that, with one axis would be recommended or not, and the other axis would be the actual frequencies regarding to the frequencies that we find in the recording. But as I said, it's very computer intensive. So I didn't add it into this version, but I will probably add an option to do it in the next version by just computing it on demand. But know that it will be compute intensive. But maybe it will also lead to much more precise recommendations. And if you tell me that sometimes the algorithm says not recommended, when you find it's recommended, it definitely means that my algorithm is far from perfect. So yes, just take it with a grain of salt.
Okay. So it
So
could mean though that like maybe it's systemic, and maybe we could put those frequencies in and you're going to have some kind of a movement. But if you really went over here and looked at something else that's like in the 400s, like we were saying before, and that was actually happening to them, maybe the bones that you're talking about, Dan, may be better served by having that frequency than the one that's only like maybe 20%. So, I mean, as much as it could be the algorithm, it could be maybe it's reading the whole thing. I mean, that's how I think. Maybe it's the whole
well,
thing.
no,
It's
thank
hard
you
to
for
say
that.
because it's just let me answer that. It's hard to say because it's exactly like in the lists of herbs. If you have 10 different herbs that are recommended at 80%, then you have to know the herbs and say, okay, amongst these 10 different herbs, I know that peppermint is good for you, for instance, because of other variables that the system doesn't know, okay? Because you see the constitution of your clients, or because it just likes the test and not the taste of the other ones, which tells something about his internal feelings. And these are things that could not be computed. And this is why you are a pro and you know things, okay?
Well, it's like for herbs, each plant has a crystalline structure. It has a planet assigned to it. And, and these represent, I mean, it's esoteric, but these represent conditions,
Yeah.
right? And so you can say, well, out of all of these that are all 80%, this one's characteristics, number 7 in the list, plant's characteristics has characteristics that would be beneficial for whatever you're working at, right?
Mm.
And the other thing, I go to drives, momentum, acupuncture lines when I'm trying to isolate something and look at it, and that's kind of how I get my, oh, okay, so right here's a blockage, and this particular meridian, while it feeds to everything in your body, it has specific functions. And
Yes.
you can look at that and say, oh, well, okay, maybe I want to use something because there's 3 red dots in a row there, right? That's a
Yes,
big
and
block.
that's exactly how you should use it. You should
Yeah,
browse different information sources
yeah,
and make a picture of your clients according to that and according to all your
yeah.
knowledge outside of that. And remember that BioCoherence is probably a great tool, but it's only just a tool.
It's a
So
wonderful tool.
yeah, but it's just
You
a
know,
tool.
I would
Mm.
just like to bring up something, and I have to leave because I have another meeting to go to, but you know, they say that with the energy raising up, that our DNA is morphing, our body, our cells are morphing from carbon to silicone. And yesterday was the I mean, silicone has showed up in my atomic chart, but yesterday was the first time that, wow, I had 8 or 9 elements all going to silicone. Or no, silicone, yeah, they were all going to silicone. So it was like, wow, does that mean that, we're going to start seeing because, you need, silicone carbon, if you heat carbon up, it turns into heat, right? With too much energy. Silicone, no, the more energy you put into it, the faster it vibrates. And that's what our cells are going to. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. That's something in biocoherence that's showing the change in the atomic structures in your body. That's like, wow. You can't even get that with an MRI, right? So, I mean, it's like, wow, that was really cool. Anyway, thank you guys. Medrick, I sure we can do something, even if I maybe can reach out to you later today, because
Yeah, sure.
I would
Mhm.
like to have those functions. I mean, my table, I've already paid for the table. I mean, they're
Yeah,
going to
no,
charge
no.
me
We,
whether
we'll
it's
we'll check that, and if I have to push an update for you, if there is a problem, we will fix it for your event. No problem. Mm.
okay. Thank you guys. I need to leave. I've got to go. I've got a score mentorship thing going on. So anyway, thank you. Love you all. See you next week.
See you. Okay, so you remember last week I told you we can now include this stimuli into the basic programs, which led me to think that when you have priorities like that and you want to add some stimuli that you love to use for some specific clients, this is exactly the kind of thing that you want to do with the basic program. So that basic programs can be added on top of an exploration by just clicking on it and for instance, clicking on okay, so this is actually annoying. Clicking on add 9 to the current priorities, it will add the entirety of this program to the priorities of your clients so that you mix everything into one big program. But if you have, I don't remember where. Yes, okay. So this one you see as a little blue icon that is pulsating. It means that it includes some stimulus. And so now you have a new button here. So you can add to the current priorities, but you can also add them with the stimulus that are included with it. So if I click on it, it will add the stimuli on top of my large intestine. And when I click on it, I can go to in program and I can see this one that has been included in it. And of course, if I go back to my harmonic boost, now I have this stimulus that is included into the priorities. So with this system, you can make your own basic programs with the list of stimuli that you like to use with different kind of clients, for instance, and instantly add them to your different priorities on top of the computed priorities. So when maybe I will show you again how to do that. So if you want to work with a specific program, for instance, this one, you can just modify it. You add it to priorities, and now you can work on the content of this program. So for instance, you go to large intestine and you add some new stimulus on top of it. Okay, so now you have 3. And I can now replace priorities for my test program. And if I have to click on, no, I think it's okay. I can just save it. And now I should have, yes, you see the little pulsating things, it says 3. So now I have 3 items that are recorded into the priorities of this basic program. So I can now use this basic program for various kind of clients that have some specific conditions that I see regularly, and I want to create a basic program for me that I can add in one click into their priorities. Does that make sense to you? Okay, cool.
Yes,
Okay.
I just wanted to ask you, is there, when you're talking with AI and when you like giving some symptoms and something, and he gives you propositions of harmonic boost, like 3 or 4 items, the biomarkers or frequencies.
Yes.
Is there a way just to have that boost like separated, not with the other boosts from the reading? Like I have 2 or 3 times, you know, to give some like for ticks or like for this Lyme disease or something, just like 2 or 3 frequencies.
Yes. So in that case, what I would do is go so close analysis and just create a basic program for this client. So if you work on a client, then you can go to I don't know, personal, for instance, and you can create a new basic program, and you will not find ticks, but you will find you will start with any organs, for instance, or any meridians. Okay, let's start with anything. So you click on a meridian, you click on it, and now you can add something about ticks. So you start with a system.
Yeah,
It should be an organ, for instance. Then you
it was also, yeah.
Then you add some
Yeah.
items, and then you save it. And you save it to into one of the categories, so energy, body, and mind, and you save it only for your client. And when you do that, it will be available, it will be sent to the cloud, and it will be available into the programs that your client has into his own app. And it will be separated from the current exploration.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
So
because
you call it
Yeah.
program, for instance. You save it here. And now you should have a tick program made for your client. And when he logs into his app, he should see it tick program made by Anton.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do that? Can you do that just as an MP3?
Yes, you can also export it as an MP3 and send it to the client if you want.
So I was kind of wondering of what we had talked about before about using transducers or the headphones and actually broadcasting it into a product.
Yep.
You know, so for a Lyme's person to actually take and broadcast it into either their water or if
So you just go to Harmonic Boost and you just play it or save it.
right.
And that's it. When you are into a basic program, you always have this button, Harmonic Boost and Personal Guide. So you start with an organ or a system or anything, you add some stimuli on top of it, and then you just click on Harmonic Boost and you play it or you export it.
Perfect.
One thing I'm realizing that if you have one tick program that you want to send some to different clients, it would be good to be able to duplicate it or to send it to several people. Because right now you can only save it for one client, which maybe doesn't make sense if you have one very good program that you want to share with a lot of people.
So what I did, I had a friend in Colorado who, I don't know what he got bit by, but he thought at first it might be an ingrown hair or something, and he wanted the salve that he knew that I had made before, and so I broadcast the lime stuff in there, but I also put the pain remedy in, and so when I just broadcasted into the salve and then packaged that up good and sent it to him, and he said he says it's working. And I go, well, that's good, and because there's not that much in the salve actually, and so that I definitely believe the frequencies are really a powerful key to what's happening with that, or how we can use it in so many different ways.
Yeah.
And years ago, I've had a hot tub for like 17 or 18 years, and I would broadcast into our hot tub, and I had all these sacred waters from all over the place, and I'd pour some of that in, and then I had frequency CDs that I could broadcast and play in the speakers in the water. And unfortunately, my hot tub is now rotten across the bottom and stuff, and I can't use it anymore. But man, I miss being able to do all that, because when you could actually bathe in that water and stuff, and so it's pretty powerful stuff. But this is so good because you have so many possibilities, what you can do and what you can build with the frequencies, which is much more logical than trying to just use a right frequency or that kind of stuff, where you're looking at all these different priorities that you've scanned for yourself versus guessing. So this is really, really good. Yeah.
Cool. Jason? Jason, you raised your hand, but your microphone is off.
Just to be clear about this, when you ask helpers and you say make me harmonic boost, this means automatically that it embeds in the regular harmonic boost, or you need to say to him to put it.
Okay, so you have two ways to access the AI helpers. One is when you have an exploration open, and one is when you are on the homepage. So if you have an exploration open, let me open a small one. I don't know what. Okay. If you have an exploration open and you click on AI helpers, it will actually read your different biomarkers and act on it and modify your current harmonic boost and personal guide and so on. If you don't want that, you can just close this exploration and click here to create a basic program. You see now you have created a customized basic program with AI. And at that point, you can ask him to create a basic program. And it will create it, I think it will create it for your client if you are working currently on your client. So let's just try it. Okay, so it's asking to work on your client, and you can just chat. You can open one and it will work on this exploration, or you can chat without exploration data, in which case it will create a basic program without biomarkers, okay? So create a good program for my client, what is biochemistry, who has, I don't know, stomach pain. And so this comes without any analysis. It will create a basic program, and this basic program should be then available into your client's interface when you save it. So if you want two different programs, one for the exploration and one for other symptoms like tics or something like that, you should just close the exploration and create this program from the homepage. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay, I wanted to be clear because I suspected that was like that. My only thing was the having symptoms like a cough or something and just wanted to get that frequencies, how to, how to get them for the
Yes.
kids.
So
Like say, let's say for the kids, last time they were all coughing and like, okay, I need to go there and there, and they're all just, when you ask him, it just list them and then you need to press 1, 2, 3, and for the kids it's difficult. I need to
okay,
be
so
just like
sometimes they don't
basic program. Yeah.
sometimes they don't know exactly what you want, so you have to tell them, now create a basic program for me. And instead of just showing, because they have the possibility to show you the harmonic boost so that you can play it in the interface, but they also have the possibility to add it to the harmonic boost, and sometimes they just show it without adding it. So tell them explicitly to add them into your harmonic boost program, and at that point it should add it. If it's only showing
Yeah, I
you,
understand. Yeah.
but
Thank
that's
you.
an idea, Riyad. If it's only showing you the harmonic boosts, I don't think we have the option to add it to the basic program with a plus button, but that's something that I wanted to add, so that if it's only shows it to you, you would have a button on the right to say add it to my basic program or something like that.
I think you can ask AI to just
Yes.
add what you want in there.
Yes, but sometimes it doesn't do it. It just show it. So if you answer him to ask to create a new basic program for you with these items, it should do it at this point.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Jason.
Hey, good morning.
Hey.
I just had a quick question about in building the programs, I was looking to actually be able to delete a program that I built, and I cannot find a way to delete that. I don't know if you can demonstrate that, or if there is a quick button to delete a program.
The basic program?
Yeah.
I think that's something I forgot.
And there is a program in located in body that was built under the name Jason's Test. And I assume everyone can see that. And I would imagine that maybe that would be good to delete that if that's something that's available to everybody that is using the app as
So
it's just a test.
what you can do is not making public. I think it's not public now, but I remember at one point it was public, and I think it's me that just put it in private for you.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it's true that we don't have an option to delete a basic program yet, and that's just silly. So when you edit a program, you should have an option here to delete it somewhere. So I will add it to the next update. But what you can do at least is put it in private.
Yes.
So it's still annoying, but only for you instead of for only everybody.
Yes, no, that's actually the program that I have that I want to delete is just in private.
Yes.
So
It's something I forgot. So I will have to add something to delete the program from the next version.
okay. And I guess that test is I thought it was under public, rather it looks like it's down below all the other programs.
I don't think it's still into the public programs, but
maybe you moved it.
yes, I think I moved it.
The other detail that I just wanted to share this is an research article that I was going to share with you and ask you a little bit about. It's not actually new information. I'll just put it in the chat here. This is, I don't know if you've seen this, but I found this pretty interesting, that the suggestion is that nerve signals actually travel as sound rather than electricity until they are changed into electricity via piezoelectric effect within the nerves themselves. So I don't know if you've seen that or not, but I figured that was a very interesting and possibly useful piece of information.
Yes.
It just says when sound pulse moves through the nerve pathway, the membrane changes locally from a liquid to a more solid form. The membrane is compressed slightly, and this change leads to an electrical pulse. So it's saying that, and this makes sense just in the idea that as far as I know, nerve signals, like the fastest nerve signals travel at 300 miles an hour, which is pretty fast, but it's still not the speed of light.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, thanks for that.
Thank you.
Great catch. Okay. Any other questions, or shall we stop here? Yes, Jeff.
When we do the meditations, how does it generate, or how does it decide the notes or the chords that you need? And is there a way to see that if I'm talking to another musician and I can do a scan on them or something, if they want to just say, well, tell me what key or what should I do? What's my main key I should be playing in? Is there a way to be able to just see that on their scan?
Yes, sure. If you go to Mind
Okay.
and you go to Music,
All right.
so you have to compute it. This is one of the screens that are a little bit compute intensive. And then if you go down, yes, you have it. So you see the different chords that we have computed from the recording. This is on a short span, a medium span, and a long span. And we take the longest one for the meditation, I think.
Okay.
And we have some emotional interpretation, which can also be useful for people when they want to connect with the meaning of this particular chord.
Okay. I'll have to do some.
So this comes from here. This is a little bit hard to read, but you see this is short, medium, and long. So the blue one is short term, the red one is medium, and the
green
seems backward. I'm actually not sure of it. Anyway, these are the different notes that you have into the frequencies that we compute from your recordings. And we do some music theory to extract the different features from these notes and to try and rebuild the scale and the chords that are mainly present into your recording.
So as they harmonically balance, do they work in pairs? So like, like C and F sharp, like
Well,
triad.
we could go further and try to see if everything is harmonically connected or not. But frankly, this goes maybe further into the musical theory that I've already implemented into the app. So you can, if you know music theory, you can just work with this instant and moment and period harmonies and see if they are consistent or if they are a little bit chaotic. And I think you can, no, okay. You can see you should be able to see the different notes. Yes, okay, you see. So you can see how when you go and play here, when you are into the exploration like that, you can compare the different recordings. So this is the first recording, the second one, and the third one. So probably the initial exploration and two reevaluations. But if you click on play, you can actually move into the different beats. And as you can see, this evaluation will change from time to time during the recording. So this is only useful if you want to see if something particular has happened around one certain at a certain point of your recording because you did something with your clients and he had a strong reaction, for instance, so that you can do some analysis after the recording to see what happened at this particular time. But I think it's maybe just too advanced for most usages. So just go with the global recording and
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I knew it was kind of deep for not I can ask those kind of questions, but I just out of my own,
Yeah. So anyway, if you want to explore it, there is plenty to explore. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. I'll have fun with that.
okay. Any other question, Jason? You still have your raised hand. Your hand raised. Sorry.
Sorry, I just did not lower it.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
I do actually have one question about what you were discussing earlier. So in another system that I use, you can do basically a bioscan, and there's something called reverse lookup. It is advised that you don't really reference reverse lookup too much because basically a frequency can be found in lots of different symptoms or things like that. So like you were saying earlier, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have this. And I think if my understanding is correct, you were using analogy of an herb. So an herb has lots of different properties. It can be used to treat, let's say, 5 or 10 or 20 different things, but that doesn't mean that your client has all of those things. You have to understand your client's history and
Yes.
know that it's appropriate to apply that specific thing. So
Yes.
in the things that we see come up, you might see 10 different things come up, but it's really up to you to know that one specific thing is really related to the client, and it doesn't mean that they have all of those things.
Yes.
That's correct.
Yeah. The only thing is that if we do something like a reverse lookup, it means we just analyze the frequencies that are present in the recording and we try to match it with the frequencies that are present in the different systems. It happens that many of the stimuli programs and all biomarkers programs are made of a lot of different frequencies. So
Yes.
we can have something where some of the frequencies would match different programs, but the specific frequency spectrum for this particular program would be pretty unique. So
Yes.
it's always impossible to say for sure that you have this disease and you have this bug in the system, but we can say, okay, we could say, I mean, the different frequencies are moving in a coherent manner together. So there is a strong possibility that you have this particular bug because all of the frequencies that makes up the spectrum of this program are just in coherence altogether, And that is something that we can only have with BioCoherence, where we compute this fourth or fifth order analysis into the frequencies because we can start computing the coherence of the frequencies between them and the links and so on. And that is why it's not yet done for all the stimuli because it was too compute intensive to have an intensive result for that. So it will probably come again in the next version on demand when you want to compute some specific stimuli. It would compute the recording against the specific frequencies. But right now I didn't want to release it because otherwise initial computation would be too long.
And this is, I mean, this is also why this is unique because this is all information that's contained in the HRV, right? And that's how this is being interpreted.
No.
Through.
It's important to understand that we don't, the HRV is, well, we have maybe 10 or 15 biomarkers that are linked to the HRV. But when you say HRV, it's just saying we are measuring the distance, the time between the different bits. But
Yeah.
that's not what we are doing. We are computing the whole wave, which gives us much more information. And especially because we are computing for the terms, we are not only computing what happens in the heart, but we are computing the whole body bioelectricity. So we are not only focusing on just the HRV values, we are measuring everything that happens in the bioelectricity of the body, which gives us much more information than just HRV. So yes, we are using an ECG device, which is mainly used for HRV, but we are pushing it much further than what you can usually do with an ECG device.
Very good.
But
Yeah.
then you will say like it's not from HRV, it's from like heart electromagnetic field. Yes.
Not
Something
only the
like-
heart. You can say we are measuring the whole bioelectricity of the body. Because not
So
only
maybe
the heart
this,
has a bioelectric activity, all of our cells have a bioelectric activity. And because we don't just measure with patches on the heart, but we measure with the thumbs, we measure everything that is happening into the body.
well, if the signals are sound before they become electricity, in relation to what this article is saying, or this theory is saying, then that makes a lot of sense.
Yes. And it makes even more sense on the therapeutic side because measuring the bioelectricity and getting some interesting biomarkers is one thing, is one of the side of what we do. But the other side is we try to rebalance things with only sound frequencies. And honestly, it was a stretch because nobody did that before on a healing point of view. Applying all these programs with just audio, and we seem to have very good results from many different testimonies. So it's very interesting to see that to have confirmation on the field that it has some very good effects, but also to have some studies we can rely on to explain why it works. Because at some point we have to say, okay, we have a possible explanation of why it works, and we have proofs of that it works. So that's the whole thing we need.
Very good. Thank you.
So thank you.
Fantastic.
Okay, I'll stop the recording here. And thanks, everybody.